So like the things that I find interesting is that the same sort of like problem that crypto people were trying to solve with the double spending problem, Byzantine generals problem, like although they were kind of looking at it through the lens of the creation of money or like a monetary system that's sort of outside of banks, outside of government, that same problem, by solving it, you are solving more than just the problem of money, which I mean, and just like a sidebar, like I don't think they really solve the problem of money per se. But they do solve a pretty interesting problem that has a lot of more abstract type of implications to it than just like this kind of simplistic kind of like, oh, now we can make money now. So although they came from that point of view, I like my argument is kind of that they don't really know what they did. They don't really know what they made. Because by solving this problem, you also solve the problem of like digital democracy, or like being able to vote on things without worrying about like a double spend of a vote, or like, these type of things, which was difficult to do in the past. Like right now, if you have, like even socialist organizations, but a lot of political parties, they use like centralized infrastructure for facilitating votes within the organization. So like some private company, which is incentivized by profit, owns the technological infrastructure for their political party, which may not be oriented towards profit, to handle democracy, to handle voting. And that's like a huge deal. That's like a huge thing that you should not have to rely on paying a for-profit company to do, in my opinion. You should have, if you have the option for something that is open source, that is neutral, that like, you can build the incentives in yourself for what you want at a very granular level, then you should do that. Like that should be like a preferable option to the like centralized tech company that's giving you like electronic voting booths or whatever. And go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that. So like this type of thing, solving this problem, has huge implications for a democratically run economy. Like if what blockchains are doing, although I disagree that they're making money, is that they are like kind of creating the tools and mechanisms, open source, available to anyone, types of things to like mix and match kind of these different building blocks for creating different types of economies with different types of logics to them. There are some contradictions with the kind of current versions of blockchains and incentives and systems that people are kind of building and are kind of moving towards. Like I think there is this kind of issue of like, for example, token voting. Like I think is the dumbest idea in the world. If you can just buy your votes, it's kind of like what is the point? Like that is our system, but worse. Like the US dollar is the governance token for the US political system, right? So like why would we want to go for that? And so like people from the outside who don't know anything and they look at the surface, this is what they're seeing. They're seeing like the dumbass ideas that kind of people have been starting out with because they're coming from a framework that is very libertarian, that's very free market oriented. And I'm saying that like, yes, your ideas are stupid, that we're kind of like going at the moment, but we can do so much better. That's like the plus side is that, and there are people who are doing so much better, who are like advocating for much better types of governance mechanisms than like standard token voting that I think deserve a lot more attention and a lot more money, to be honest. But because of this very, very neoliberal idea of like, if we all just like follow our own, greed, if we all like kind of just are incentivized for profit for the individual, then we'll all kind of collectively come to this greater good. This very, very Hayekian like libertarian idea, which is like, to me, completely off the mark. So that's kind of the problem. So like part of the issue for me in crypto right now is that a lot of people who are in it and building on it, they're kind of using these very flawed mental models for how they think these things should be used. And I'm, kind of using my platform and my podcast to try to nudge those people a little bit. Like, hey, there is a lot more that you can be looking into that is a lot more interesting, that probably be more closer to the thing that you want. Because I think at the same time, a lot of people, like if you are idealistic kind of smart contract developer or blockchain engineer, and you do actually want a better world. You like I do believe people when they say that they want to have like a more democratic world. They just don't have like the mental models, I think, to do that. And so they're building maybe these token governance type of mechanisms, and then like afterwards realizing the problems. Like I want to try to help provide kind of like the philosophical, political kind of baseline of knowledge in order to help them come up with these like more interesting things, more democratic things.